Hey everyone, your body code practitioner out here in Salt Lake City, Utah. I wanted to do a video today in regards to the continued how to kill a narcissist here. I'm making this video because I know a lot of clients, or perhaps your clients as a practitioner, are dealing with someone that has looked for a narcissistic supply, which is what the terminology used by J.H. Simon. And perhaps I think one of the biggest things we can do besides awake up to the idea of energy healing is to awake to the idea of where are you? Who are you? In other words, what role are you playing in your relationship? It's very important to know, for example, that the bird's eye view is a bird's eye view. It's not your view. And so sometimes what books do is they awaken you to be like, do you think like this? Or do you act like this? Or are there situations like this? And if you get enough sort of yes, 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 wait a minute, then who is my partner really? Or who am I really? You could be listening to this and you're like, I have a lot of narcissistic traits. I know just recently, again, I'm constantly reviewing myself and saying, I want to make sure just because you're becoming popular in YouTube or becoming a popular body code practitioner, do I have some signs of narcissism, or is there something that I'm trying to put myself on a grandiose scale? So I'm constantly trying to see, like, I hope there's no tendencies or there's any patterns that other people can see in me that I need to be like, okay, I need to fix this area, because I believe everyone has some sort of narcissistic tendencies or qualities. They're not full blown, but there's some, and that's, if you're a healer and you're already starting to notice when you're reading a narcissist book, hey, I do that, and I sometimes do that, we should use the emotion code, body code to see how we can rectify that. So today what I'm going to talk about is the false self. The false self, according to this book, is basically, it's funny because you label, when you start labeling people in this book, it goes, you're the narcissist, you're the victim, you're the narcissist, you're the empath. What's interesting is both of these roles are not even real. They're kind of like, they're two false selves. This person who's the narcissist is actually not their true self. And this person who's a victim, who's playing the victim, who's on the really bottom chain of shame, feeling it a lot, and also now starting to slowly identify to shame and guilt, that person is also their false self. What I love about the body code, so here I'm gonna give you like 4 or 5 different tips. Number one is, what I love about the body code is that you can do something like, what does the higher self want to do? So when I work with a lot of clients, one of the things is that there's so many symptoms that people are dealing with, whether it's physical, whether it's emotional. And obviously, what I always ask is, there something that's code red right now? Obviously, if there's something that's very, very annoying, something that's pressing them, cancer or bipolar, or whatever's going on that's kind of like really pressing them, I always ask them, do you have a preference of what you want to work on first? Or what's the most annoying symptom you have? It's a great question to ask as a body code practitioner. We're trying to be little, detectives and figure out what's going on. The second thing is, you also want to ask, for example, if they don't have a preference, maybe they're all annoying, really. You may want to ask the higher self, their higher self, the client's higher self, not yours, the client's higher self, what would be the best way for this person to begin their journey or continue their journey? I even asked this question, if you want to write this down. What does the higher self want to work on that would give you the most peace of mind, body, and spirit? I'll say it again. What does the higher self want to work on? Your higher self want to work on that'll give you more peace of mind, body, and spirit. So you want to and what I'll do is you'll muscle test through the list, and all of a sudden be like, work on this first. And sometimes it'll do a whole session on it. Sometimes it'll do half, like maybe like 15 minutes, and then your body's like, and then it says, is there any more imbalances here? Body's like, no. Does it mean no, like no forever? Or does it mean just for now? Usually it means just for now. But you never know. You can always go back to and be like, are there any more imbalances? Or you can check on the client to see if they're having those symptoms anymore. But as soon as it goes, no, there's no more, usually I ask, are you open to healing still? And if the body goes, yeah, I am. Okay, cool. So then I go back and I say, what does your higher self want to work on next? So I think the same variation of true self, which is the narcissist is not going in that route, nor is the shameful person. You can always ask, hey, I have a ton of symptoms as the victim, or I have a ton of symptoms as the narcissist. Where do I even start? Maybe it was my childhood, maybe it was the way my mom programmed me, maybe it was the abusive husband before I met this narcissist. I don't know. And so then you just kind of start like, maybe they don't even know what's going on, like why they act the way they act. And they might have some speculations of different things. And then, or maybe they know specifically how they are the victim or how they are the narcissist, and say, are there any imbalances that's causing that behavior of a narcissist, or the specific behavior of a narcissist, or is there any particular behavior of the shameful guilt person that you feel? Maybe, again, I'm gonna read some of you here. We're gonna work on the victim today, but the main point of this video is the false self. Both of them are acting out of their false self. Both of them need healing. And so here's some couple of things here that the consequences of disassociation. So I read that we're on page 69 here, and sometimes, for example, the dissociated state has many dire consequences. And basically, these are some things that might happen to you as the victim. You might have, for example, stunted learning. Because of all the pressure and the guilt and the shame, all of a sudden it's hard to learn again. Like, it's hard to acquire new information because you're always tiptoeing on glass. You can ask and say, are there any imbalances preventing me to learn faster? Are there any more? So here's number one, stunted learning. This may be something that you're experiencing as a victim right now, is that I used to learn so quickly. I used to pass tests a lot. I used to do this. Now all of a sudden it doesn't really function for you anymore. It takes longer for you to study. You lose focus very quickly. You're nervous that your partner is looking over your shoulder and seeing what you're doing. So stunted learning might be one of them. And just ask, are there any imbalances that are preventing me from learning faster? Are there any imbalances that are preventing me from memorizing things more proficiently? So that's a good one to start with. The second one is the inability to handle feelings. Maybe all of a sudden you're the empath. The narcissist has had their narcissistic reply. Now you don't even know how to handle your feelings. Every day you feel overwhelmed. Every day you feel too sensitive. Every day you have fear and panic in communicating your feelings. So what does that look like to you? Innate inability to handle feelings. Do you have that? And what variations do you have? Question yourself. Do I feel overwhelmed every day? Do I constantly feel anxiety? Do I have social anxiety now? I used to not have it, but all of a sudden now, after a narcissistic relationship, I kind of have social anxiety. So pinpoint that for your body code practitioner and say, these are the way that I can't handle my feelings. Here's the third one, deferred control. Let other people control you. Let other people make your schedule. Let other people, make decisions for your life. Why? Because you've kind of given up. You become like sort of the pawn of a narcissist. All of a sudden you're constantly giving control to other people. So are there any imbalances preventing me from taking back my control? Are there any imbalances that are preventing me from having self-confidence? These are tips, guys, body code sessions that are on the way for that victim. Susceptibility to manipulation. What would be the opposite of susceptibility to manipulation? Is to have discernment. Maybe your discernment's off now because you're susceptible to people manipulating you, or your vocal cords or your throat chakra, it's not open because you've had to constantly restrict your throat chakra. So do you feel like you're susceptible to manipulate? People call it very gullible, but there could be like a very dark version of gullibility that comes from narcissism because you just have to believe what this very overbearing person has to say. So maybe you need discernment. Maybe you need confidence to speak your truth. Maybe you need, is there some imbalances that are not able for you to be an influence to others? Stop receiving influence, but to be an influence to others again, like the way you used to be. Poor memory is another one. Increased anxiety, we talked about that. Alienation from yourself. Some people, they don't feel like themselves anymore. You can say, are there any imbalances preventing me to feel like myself again? The way I used to feel before this marriage. You could say that. Also, are there any, you don't even know how to describe it, so you're off. Your body knows and goes, I know what it feels like when you're on and when you're off. Also, you might be creating weak relationships. Are there any imbalances that are enabling me to keep unhealthy relationships? Are there any imbalances that keep me in this unhealthy relationship? Do I have codependency imbalances? Things like that. So those are kind of some things I want to tell you about. It's that when the false self starts showing up, these things happen. Stunted learning, here's number one. Number two, inability to handle feelings. Number two, Deferred control, keep letting people take control of your life. Number 3, susceptible to manipulation. That's number 4. Number 5, you start getting poor memory because, a person who dissociates will have gaps in their memory. It says it's not uncommon for children of narcissism to forget the details of most of their childhood. So why is maybe it was a protection mechanism from a narcissist parent. Increased anxiety. Maybe you don't even know, but you're like, yeah, I do feel nervous throughout the whole day. I feel anxious. I don't feel settled. So that's a body code session. Alienation from self. You feel like, nobody is home to take care of things. Emotional needs are ignored. Anxiety runs rampant. Self-development growth is stunted. All this stuff, it's a very lonely experience. Kind of like you feel kind of like alienated. You start developing weak relationships. If you had strong relationships, they probably would be telling you to get out of that relationship. If you have weak relationships, they're probably like, yeah, go ahead and stay with this person. So again, these are common things that you just have to look at, like, what behaviors have I developed since I've been with a narcissist, which is the false self. It's not even you. It's not even you. And then just say, are there any imbalances that are causing me to have this? And then use the body code. So hopefully this gives you some work that if you're a body code practitioner, you can check those things. Hey, quick question. Do you learn as fast as you used to? Can you handle your feelings, or do you feel like everything's overbearing? So these are some pretty cool little points here of what happens to someone who starts disassociating due to victimization of a narcissist. So hopefully you like this video. What can you relate with in this? Comment below what you can relate with. What thing kind of stands out to you? Like, I started noticing that pattern. Or maybe comment below if there's a pattern that you've noticed as a victim of a narcissist, and you're like, I don't know how to take care of this. Comment on that below. Maybe I can put some insight in there, or maybe if you have an energy healer, I can recommend something for you, or anything I can do to help out in your journey. And so definitely read this book. It's a good book, How to Kill a Narcissist. Hopefully you gained some insight on here, and would love to help you out in any way I can. And we'll be in touch soon. Have a great day. Again, continue learning about who you played as a role. Like what's my role in this relationship? Am I him, or am I this narcissist, or am I the empath? Or do I have symptoms of an empath, or do I have symptoms of narcissism? You got to just check every area to make sure that you're in the best role situation. If not, if you're taking too much, or if you're giving too much, that could be a problem. And there's probably some imbalance of why you're doing that. So with that, hope you guys appreciate this video. I'm going to keep reading this book, and any insight that I can give to you in regards to healing, I'd love to help you out. So with that, love you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.